Steven Seagal is widely known as an actor, producer, and martial artist whose action films captivated audiences across generations. With explosive screen presence and a commanding style, he became one of the most recognizable action stars of his era. However, beyond the fight scenes and tough guy image, there were many lesser-known layers to his life. Few people realize that Seagal is also a guitarist and once served as a reserve deputy sheriff. Despite his high-energy movie roles, much of his personal life remained mysterious. With box office successes like Hard to Kill and Under Siege, it seemed Seagal had firmly secured his place among Hollywood's elite action heroes. Then, almost as suddenly as he rose, he began fading from major studio films, leaving fans wondering what happened to the once dominant action star. Let's take a closer look at the rise, controversies, and complex story behind Steven Seagal's life. Steven Frederick Seagal was born on April 10, 1952, in Lansing, Michigan, to Patricia Ann Fisher and Samuel Seagal. His father worked as a mathematics teacher, while his mother was a medical technician. Seagal's ancestry includes Irish, Russian Jewish, English, German, and Dutch roots. As a child, Seagal struggled with asthma and was physically frail. But when he was 5 years old, his family relocated to Fullerton, California, a move that significantly improved his health. According to family accounts, he had been a small, weak child in Michigan, but thrived after moving west. Even at a very young age, Seagal reportedly knew he wanted to master martial arts. By age 7, he began training in karate under Fumio Demura. During the 1960s, he expanded his studies to Aikido with Harry Ishisaka in Orange County, California. He later attended Buena Park High School and briefly studied at Fullerton College between 1970 and 1971. In 1974, Seagal met Miyako Fujitani, a second-degree black belt, and the daughter of an Aikido master from Osaka, Japan. She had come to Los Angeles to teach Aikido, and the two soon developed a relationship. They married in December 1974 after Seagal followed her to Japan. This period marked the beginning of several controversies. At 22, Seagal moved to Japan, reportedly to avoid being drafted into the Vietnam War. Questions later arose regarding claims he made about his martial arts training. Seagal suggested he had been taught by Morihei Ueshiba, the founder of Aikido. But Ueshiba had died in 1969, when Seagal was only 17. Critics pointed to this inconsistency as evidence that Seagal often exaggerated aspects of his life story. In 1978, Seagal earned his black belt in Aikido, though rumors circulated that he received it under questionable circumstances. Despite skepticism, he began teaching at his wife's family dojo and eventually became the first non-Japanese person to operate an Aikido dojo in Japan. He was also said to have served as a Shinto priest during this time. Seagal made additional bold claims, including assisting CIA agents in Japan and engaging with powerful international figures. However, these statements lacked independent verification, and even his wife publicly denied many of them, including allegations about conflicts with the Yakuza. Despite tensions in their relationship, Seagal and Fujitani had 2 children, a son, Kentaro, who later pursued acting and modeling, and a daughter, Ayako, who became a writer and actress. After spending approximately 15 years in Japan, Seagal decided to return to the United States to pursue an acting career. According to reports, his wife had saved money for years to support his ambitions, only to feel abandoned when he left. Their marriage ended in divorce. In 1983, Seagal returned to America with his senior student, Haruo Matsuoka. Together, they opened an Aikido dojo in North Hollywood, later relocating to West Hollywood. He briefly married actress Adrienne La Russa in 1984, though the marriage was annulled due to complications surrounding his prior divorce. Seagal continued advancing in Aikido, eventually reaching 7th Dan level. During this time, he also became involved in law enforcement training. At the request of Sheriff Harry Lee, Seagal served as a reserve deputy in Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, helping train officers in martial arts and marksmanship. His connections with wealthy and high-profile clients opened doors in Hollywood. Talent agent Michael Ovitz, once an Aikido student of Seagal, recognized his imposing presence and believed he could transform him into a movie star. In 1987, Seagal married actress Kelly LeBrock. Together, they had 3 children, daughters Annalisa and Arissa, and a son, Dominic. Seagal made his film debut in 1988 with Above the Law, directed by Andrew Davis. The film was a commercial success and introduced mainstream audiences to Aikido-based fight choreography, something rarely seen in American action films at the time. Unlike other action stars such as Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee, or Jean-Claude Van Damme, who relied primarily on striking techniques, Seagal's Aikido style focused on redirecting an opponent's force, using joint locks and fluid defensive movements. This distinct fighting style set him apart and marked the beginning of his rapid ascent to action stardom. In addition to his martial arts presence, Seagal developed a signature on-screen style. He often wore sleek Italian suits, usually an all-black ensemble paired with a 3/4-length coat, creating a look that became instantly recognizable. His characters typically appeared calm, almost understated at first glance, sometimes even underestimated by their enemies. But when violence erupted, they revealed their true capabilities, swiftly overpowering opponents with ruthless efficiency. His debut film, Above the Law, earned over $8.8 million at the U.S. box office. Legendary film critic Roger Ebert remarked that the movie contains 50% more plot than it needs, but noted that this extra space allowed it to explore areas not commonly covered in action thrillers. Following that success, Seagal starred in a string of box office hits, including Hard to Kill, Marked for Death, and Out for Justice, solidifying his reputation as a new kind of action hero. Critics praised his distinct fighting style, highlighting his ability to be both physically and metaphorically disarming. In 1990's Hard to Kill, Seagal portrayed a police officer left for dead by the mob, who awakens from a coma seeking revenge. The film also featured his wife at the time, Kelly LeBrock. By 1991, Seagal had already headlined 4 successful films. However, controversy was never far behind. On April 20th, 1991, Seagal hosted an episode of Saturday Night Live. The experience became infamous. Executive producer Lorne Michaels and cast members David Spade and Tim Meadows later described him as one of the worst hosts in the show's history. They cited his lack of humor, difficulty collaborating, and unwillingness to participate in sketches, including a Hans and Franz parody in which the characters joked they could beat him up. Seagal was never invited back. Even a year later, during Nicolas Cage's monologue in 1992, Michaels jokingly reassured Cage that no matter how poorly he performed, at least, "You're not Steven Seagal." The controversies escalated beyond awkward television appearances. During the filming of Out for Justice in 1991, several Warner Brothers employees accused Seagal of sexual harassment. 2 women reportedly received financial settlement. Around the same period, multiple actresses alleged inappropriate conduct during casting sessions. Jenny McCarthy later claimed that during an audition for Under Siege 2, Seagal asked her to undress, an allegation he denied. Professionally, 1992 marked a high point with the release of Under Siege, directed again by Andrew Davis. The film was a major commercial success and remains one of Seagal's most acclaimed works. It stands as his only film to receive a strong rating on Rotten Tomatoes and is widely considered one of the standout action movies of the early 1990s. Meanwhile, his personal life was unraveling. In 1993, he and Kelly LeBrock welcomed their 3rd child, Arissa. The following year, however, LeBrock filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. In 1994, Seagal directed and starred in On Deadly Ground, alongside Michael Caine and Billy Bob Thornton in supporting roles. The film departed from his typical action formula, focusing heavily on environmental themes. It was critically panned, particularly for Seagal's extended speech about ecological destruction. Despite poor box office performance, Seagal later described the film as a turning point in his career. That same year, he faced additional legal troubles, including accusations of employment discrimination, sexual harassment, and breach of contract. Actress Cheryl Schumann filed a lawsuit alleging assault during filming, though a Los Angeles judge later dismissed the case, stating the claims were inconsistent. By 1996, Seagal took a supporting role in Executive Decision, starring Kurt Russell. Notably, his character was killed early in the film, a surprising move for a star known for dominating screen time. According to industry reports, he accepted the role partly due to financial disputes tied to overspending on Deadly Ground. That same year, he starred in The Glimmer Man,